Well, my name is Fionn Morgan, and I am Ian Fleming's stepdaughter. My father was called Lord O'Neill, and he was killed in the war. My mother then married somebody called Esmond Rothermere, who owned the Daily Mail. But actually, before she met Esmond Rothermere, she'd met Ian Fleming. Because the relationship had begun to really take off at the end of the war, and then, of course, she marries Rothermere, it became necessary for them to correspond. And so the letters really were the letters of two lovers. Oh, my darling, I'd wish you'd let your house for dollars. She's talking about Goldeneye. Already, Ian's wonderful house in Jamaica had been built. Oh, my darling, I wish you'd let your house for dollars and come home soon. It's too long not to kiss you, and it's very lonely. My mother was notoriously untidy, which of course worried Ian tremendously. So he writes to her about the letters. Have you got something to lock up? Please fix it. I know how you leave things around like a jackdaw, and I expect every day that it will be the end. I think we shouldn't forget that this was a romantic love, not just a sexual love. And my mother writes to Ian, I wish a fairy would arrive with a wand and make everything all right. Give Esmond a perfect wife and put me in your bed with a raw cowhide whip in my hand so as I can keep you well behaved for 40 years. When eventually she divorced Esmond to marry Ian, I was delighted because he was an excellent stepfather and I'd always loved him. Ian's life began to be extremely exciting after the books took off, and he absolutely loved all that travel. Here he is writing to my mother, went to Macau yesterday and spent the night in a fan-tan gambling hall and dancing the tango with Chinese houris. Today lunch with gold smuggler, and now back here. Ian writes to her from Jamaica, where all the books were written in Jamaica. Meanwhile, the book is galloping along. I have written a third of it in 1 week. The first half is about Russia, and that has always interested me. They have decided to murder Bond. A beautiful spy called Tatiana Romanova is about to appear. Ian was not remotely interested in aristocracy. I mean, as you can see, the sort of people he liked were these writers and adventurers. And of course, one of the exciting people who came to stay was the writer Truman Capote. And he writes to my mother, Truman Capote has come to stay. Can you imagine a more incongruous playmate for me? On the heels of a telegram, he came hustling and twittering along with his tiny face crushed under a Russian commissar's uniform hat. My mother always said that by the time she married, the great sort of romantic period of the love affairs had passed. So they were on dangerous ground. As we see in this letter that Ian's writing, I envy you, your life of parties and the mine, because she had a lot of intellectual friends. And you envy, I suppose, my life of action and the fun I get from my books. My mother's whole attitude to the films was very rum too, really. I mean, I couldn't understand why she didn't take more sort of joy and fun in them. Anyway, she was offered a private showing of Moonraker in a small cinema, which she refused. So I said, I'll come. So I took all my friends to this, and the Broccoli's gave us all champagne and smoked salmon sandwiches, and we all loved it. And then, of course, the great irony is that after Ian died, she spent her life preserving his memory. There's not much point in these letters sitting about in a drawer, and everyone loves James Bond and everything to do with James Bond. So apart from anything else, Ian's letters are very vivid, very, very vivid. I think it was a lovely opportunity to acquire them.